The great yellow sun is reflecting.
Amanda Ramsay is back with us today from Secrets from a Beauty Insider.
Hi.
Hashtag over 40. And today we're going to be talking about brows. Because brows are one of those things that change with trends. I mean, I think I was very lucky. I kind of missed the highly plucked 1970s look. And I was kind of around more the 80s, kind of Brooke Shields. So I didn't do too much plucking, so I'm not too plucked out. But I know a lot of friends, you know, people maybe a little bit older are. But I still do, as I'm aging, I am getting a little bit of bald spot action going on. They're kind of thinning the old brows. And then, you know, you've got these big trends at the moment, this kind of Kardashian look, which is really a heavy brow kind of look. And you're kind of thinking at this, should I be trying to imitate that? You know, should I have my own spin on it? Just tell me about brows, Amanda.
The big brow debate, I think you called it. Well, look at it again. It's like anything. It's a really personal choice. Yes, we are going to thin out for sure, and I do think filling the gaps will make a big difference. I have a saying: "Broweth maketh the faitheth."
That's a good one.
Brows make the face.
Make it the faitheth.
Yeah,
I like it.
Brows make the face. Really, it does kind of finish a look.
The frame.
So it does really frame. So
Mm.
whenever I'm working on set and you'll do a makeup and you think, wow, that looks beautiful, someone will comment and then you finish the brows and it's like, wow.
Mm.
So it's the same with us. If all you did were your lips and your brows, you look polished and pulled together.
And
Now,
definitely not invisible.
definitely not invisible. And now to answer your question, I think, no, we don't all need to go down the Kim Kardashian road. Absolutely not. If you want to, cool. But I think as you reach 40, over 40, soft is better. So something softer and natural, more natural, because we do tend to, with our lines, we do get a little more angular. I think mostly as we get a bit older. So keep it quite soft and natural. So there's a few different ideas for that. I'll show you how to measure up a brow so you know where to put a little bit of colour, and then we could talk about a couple of different products.
Okay, great.
You can use.
How do you measure a brow? So this is really where your brow should sit.
Where your brow should start
Or
and
start
finish.
and finish.
And
That's
where,
the thing, at this age, a lot of people are using Botox, which is absolutely fine and great. But sometimes I find that the eyebrows are starting to, the more Botox, the more the eyebrows are kind of spreading and moving apart. So they end up starting halfway across the eye.
Very well. I guess what we could do is just show the theory behind an eyebrow shape for the optimum eyebrow shape. Okay, and then work with what you have. Don't try and completely change what's there. So I guess for those women that brows are spreading, I'm not really sure what to say there, but I can show you a couple of
Could you paint it on in the middle? Or maybe just don't go too much
maybe
Botox.
Just don't go.
Just be restrained with your Botox.
We could certainly fill in, do a couple feathery strokes inside. So the idea is, if you take, it doesn't need, it could be anything. A pencil will do, or a chopstick, anything will do. But just to give you an idea of the guide, so you usually rest, you might have to towards me a sec. Next to your nose is roughly where it should start. So Susie should start around there.
Where am I starting? I can't see. Is it good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gee.
A little bit. Yeah, so
They're
you could
uneven,
take
I know.
a couple. You could take a couple off the inside, but I would probably just leave them really. And then you want to angle your brush out. Try not to poke her in the eye. Along the side of your nose and out along the outer lashes, and that's where the tail should stop.
The tail is the bit that thins out as you age.
And that's the bit that's going to actually help to elongate.
You can see
the
how
tail.
lovely
You
and
can
long
see
your eyebrows are.
So a habit, like, you only have to measure up a couple of times, and then you will get in the habit of extending your tail in the right spot. And then, so they're the main two in terms of where it should start and where it should finish. And then the other thing is And this was a really big thing in the 90s, I think, where a peaked arch was, everyone wanted the high arch. So if you look straight ahead, so you want to put the pencil or brush, whatever it is, to the outside of your pupil. And that's roughly where the peak, so probably here, exactly where hers is.
Ah.
So that's where the highest point should be.
Okay.
Now, on that though, so yes, that's where you want the highest point of your arch to be. But what you want to avoid is having the high arch and then dragging downwards. It might be easier for me to do it here. So this might be the peak of the arch here. You then don't want the brow to come south. You want to kind of straighten it out a little bit, because if we draw it downwards, that's just going to pull this part of the eye down, which is nature's doing anyway. So we don't want to accentuate that. So I find that a slightly straighter, so your peaks here and keeping it slightly straighter will help to lift.
Yeah,
hopefully
not pulling it up, because that's another thing with Botox. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say. It kind of gets a bit that look.
Yeah.
Which is great because it gets rid of the hoods on your eyes, but it just doesn't look natural.
So if it's up here, then you just want to make sure that the tail is going to come down a little bit. Okay, rather than keep going up, otherwise you're going to look a little bit like the Joker. So with the brow shape, what you can do is there's so many different brow products. I tend to stay away from pencils because they do just tempt you to literally draw your eyebrow on, which doesn't look very natural. So I like a pomade, which is sort of like a wax, just to fill in the gaps. The wax also will have a bit more staying power as well. So actually my all-time favourites, which this is the old packaging because that's how long I've had it, is a Benefit Browsing. But there's lots of ones out on the market like this. So it's got a bit of a pomade as well as a powder.
So the pomade is the waxy
stuff. It's the
stuff.
slightly waxy stuff.
And the other is the powder.
And the powder.
So and if you sets it.
Well, if you use the wax first.
Oh, wax first.
Yeah.
I use a pencil, so
and then the powder kind of helps to set it. So a little bit faffy. If you're lo-fi, I'll show you. There's another product that you can use if you just want to do one thing. But you do need an angled brush. I think everyone needs an angled brush in their life.
Okay.
And I'll just show you real quick. So I use a little bit of the pomade, and you probably.
Which eye are you going to do?
I'm going to do this eye. What you want to do is actually start at that where the peak, like get the lower line first. Because if you get this shape defined through here first, you're kind of halfway there. And then I just dab a little bit of the powder over the top. Okay, this is going to be hard because I'm not looking at Susie front on. But get that lower, just little feathery strokes first. Then, if you look at the camera, then I'm just going to fill in a couple of these gaps through here just to sort of even out the top of the brow. Just where the baldy bits are. Where it's thinned out, the hair's thinning out. But little fine strokes will just make sure it looks more natural rather than drawing it on with a pencil. Okay. Now once you've actually got the shape, you can do two things. You can use something that's sort of like a brow mascara. This is called a brow set. This is just a clear gel. And it has almost like a mascara wand on the end. And you're just going to comb the little brow hairs up.
And then it would just stay all day.
Yeah. Turn towards me. So I'm just keeping it really natural because that's what you tend to like. So you can also just buy these little spoolies. So if you are going to use a pencil, to show you another example of another product. So this is a Bobbi Brown product. This is a pencil with a spoolie on the other end. It's quite clever. So it is a pencil on an angle. So that's going to really help you get little tiny strokes.
And that might be a little bit heavier, maybe, possibly? Or just a different...
It's just different. I think it's still waxy, so it's still going to set. That one's a long wear one. It actually will last.
And that one you wouldn't need the brow set afterwards.
So I like the definition that the gel actually gives. There's lots of products, but then always, this is the step I think a lot of people miss. When you're using a pencil, comb them back through with a spoolie. So this is a clever product because it has that already there for you, but you can actually buy a spoolie separately, and just comb them through. So if you're going to use a pencil, just comb it through. I do think like this is a budget product. It's a L'Oreal Brow Artist Plumper. It's not as good as holding the hairs, but it will give you, even if all you did.
Is that clear?
This is clear. It's just literally brushed up the hairs.
If that's all you did, exactly, without even colour, depending on your eyebrows. Yeah.
A little bit of a polished finish. So that's a budget one. The MAC one's a little bit more expensive.
Yes.
So the brow set gel is something, again, that I've embraced a little bit later in life. I have become a bit more obsessed about eyebrows, actually, because they really do frame the face. They make it the faitheth. But I do think that choose whatever works for you. Just be cautious with pencil that you're not literally drawing them on. Just use little feathery strokes. Invest in an angled brush if you want to use a pomade or a powder. Fill in the gaps.
Oh, that's fantastic. Once again, thank you, Amanda, for coming in.
You're welcome.
Sorting out my brows.
The great yellow sun is reflecting in your deep blue eyes. The day has begun.